Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Takedown, a Jackrabbit Illustrated podcast focused on South Dakota State wrestling. Once again, I'm joined by my co-host Alex, and we also have special guest, head coach Damian Hahn. Alex, how you doing today?
I am doing swell. Been a good
Kids
day.
doing well?
Yeah, kids are well. Been a good day. Been a productive day, and I'm thrilled to have our guest here today. How are you doing, Coach? I feel like we have informally met so many times. Not that you would remember me from anyone, but it's good to kind of have the formal introduction here a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. I'm looking forward to this because every time it's always fun. It's always fun.
Yeah, and apparently your wife's well aware of this podcast because I
Oh yeah,
talked to her at the. She's like, "Oh, you're the guy that talks to my husband for an hour and a half, almost 2 hours." When you guys, you're not our most visited guest, but you're in the top two now. You're only being beat out by your 174 pounder.
oh boy,
Cade's been on here, I think, every year since he's
yeah,
been around,
yeah.
and yeah, so you said you're an open book. I know you're an open book. I just like to say, Coach, and I hope it's not over the line. You're looking good, man. You must be wrestling a lot because you're looking
That's
good.
funny.
I looked back to try and get some pictures for the thumbnail, and I thought I'd noticed it personally, and I'm like, oh yeah, definitely, that guy's looking good.
Well, I say this all. I actually said this yesterday. I was on the phone with somebody, and I said I don't actually call what I do wrestle anymore. It's more like surviving, and I'm really freaking good at surviving. So I would like to get on the mat more as you get older. It's little things happen here and there, and so it's funny because we were down at the Virginia duels, and it was the night before where we got our guys, and we are getting down to weight, and I'm going with Tanner Cook, and we're kind of just sparring and playing around, and the dude foot swept the hell out of me, and I kind of go over, and my heel smacks on the ground, and I swear I thought I like fractured my heel, and so that's kept me out for a handful of weeks here, and but usually, yeah, I mean we try to get on the mat as much as possible with the guys when needed, right? I mean, it's one of the only sports out there where you got coaches, one getting their hands on guys, and it's physical. So I always like to kind of joke. It's like, man, I'd love to see Hendo out there just dunking on some dude, or or Jimmy throw the pads on and jack some guy up.
Oh, don't tempt him. He might.
But no, man, that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah, hello, Jimmy. We have great other staff. Thanks for bringing them up. I know you guys all get along. Quite the dynamic there. Maybe touch on that a little bit if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, let's see here. I mean, Cam, I mean, and I have known one another from his days being recruited at Cornell, and coaching him, and after he graduated, he stuck around our program and continued to help out within our club. And then I always told him there would be a time where we're going to be on staff together, and South Dakota State was that time. And so I brought him along with me, and I love each and every one of them. Obviously I've known Cam the longest, and I mean, you talk about just a good dude. I mean, he is, wow. I mean, you don't find him better, right? And someone, I think, you talk about the program, you talk about what we're able to do, and I think a big part of that is because of trust. And I trust him immensely. I trust them all, to be honest with you. But he's been with me, forever. And then, getting here and getting to know Cody, and over the last 6 years, me and Cody have built a phenomenal relationship. I mean, I look at him as one of my closest and best friends. And again, you talk about that trust, and you're able to do things, and you know, if I can't be there, or they have to make a decision on, you know, training or whatever it may be. I mean, I don't usually question. I mean, these guys know where I stand, and the standard that we keep, and they run with it. And then Brady's been with us for the past 2 years, and you know, I've built a relationship with Brady, and at the end of the day, man, they are just awesome, awesome people, and um, it kind of, I make the joke, but they make me look like a real dirtbag because they're so good. They're such good people. So,
I don't think it's quite that bad.
well, no,
Although
I'm telling you, they are
we did
so
get the chance to
awesome.
interview Cam for the first time, and yeah,
Yeah.
now I know 100% why. Like, that guy's salt of the earth as well. We talked, must have been for a half hour before and a half hour after, but
Saying
anyways.
after.
And
All
I'm
right.
telling you, he'll talk all night. He'll talk all night, and that's coming from me, right? It's like, goodness gracious.
That's saying something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of touch on some of that, Coach. I know you talked about it before, but for newer listeners or just for this year's pod, year 6 now, you said.
Yep.
So what was that like? What, you know, your assistant at Cornell and this job comes open, Justin Sell contacts you. What was your first thoughts? What was attractive about this job? Bringing your own guys, merging with Cody, gets kind of touch on a lot of that different stuff.
You know, I think, and I don't live my life this way, but some things have happened in my life, and it kind of like, I don't want to say a light bulb goes off, but it's like sometimes the best things are unexpected, right? And when it came to this opportunity, it was the furthest from my mind, I guess you could say. You know, I mean, there was a plan in place, and I was going to stay, you know, stay at Cornell and kind of do my time, and hopefully take over for Rob when he retired. And all of a sudden, you know, I've had other opportunities to leave, and some just weren't the right fit, the right dynamic for, you know, my vision and where I thought, you know, we could take a program and build. And so this kind of came out of left field, to be quite honest with you. And Justin, you know, gave me a call, and I remember the first initial phone call I had with him, and I got off the phone and then I went and told my wife, and I was like, man, that guy, I mean, impressive, like really, really impressive. He reminded me a lot of our previous athletic director at Cornell, Andy Noel, and younger, but the same energy, the same vision, the same just gung ho about, you know, what the program could do, and kind of got me fired up about it. And obviously, you know, fired my wife up a little bit. You know, she's from Minnesota, and got off the phone and told her, and I was like, you know, I think this is a place that, you know, I'll take a look. And when I came out, I knew what to expect. I mean, most people think, you know, I grew up in New Jersey. You know, I went to Minnesota, and then going back to the East Coast and going to upstate New York. When most people hear New York, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, New York City. Like, wow. And it's like, dude, Cornell's in the middle of nowhere. Like, I mean, there are parts of Ithaca that, I mean, you don't have cell service. I mean, like, you know, you're in the kind of the foothills, and it's a beautiful area, but you're surrounded by dairy farms and state parks. And so coming out to Brookings, it was, I kind of had the same idea of what it would be like, but without, you know, the terrain, I guess. And you know, came up to campus, and campus was, you know, relatively the same size student body as Cornell. Cornell had 14,000 people and or students, and then, you know, SDSU sitting around 11 or so. And so it was very familiar to me. But the one thing that kind of stood out was the facilities, right? You know, Cornell is a beautiful campus. I mean, they have beautiful buildings, but I mean, it's an older school, and they're very big on traditions, and so the athletic facilities were older, and the only facility in athletics that was really state of the art was the Friedman Wrestling Center, and that kind of, you know, was a big draw for not only, you know, the student athletes, but for coaches and you know, at Cornell. And so when I came here and walking around and seeing, you know, the S-Jack and seeing, you know, the stadium and Frost, and I was like, wow, man, this is pretty. I mean, the S-Jack just, I mean, blew my mind, and it was super impressive. And you know, I knew you know, the old wrestling room wasn't anything to brag about. And one of the conversations that we had was, you know, the investment into wrestling, and Justin was talking about, you know, a wrestling facility, and you know, he asked if I would help, you know, fundraise for it, and you know, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, that's something that, you know, I learned at Cornell. I mean, they don't have big revenue sports, and everything that they do is basically fundraise for the most part, and for their athletics. So I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And after my visit and meeting some people and going through the whole, you know, song and dance, you know, I came home and I told my wife, I said, babe, this is a real possibility. And obviously she was excited about it. And, you know, we sat down and we chatted, and it just made the most sense. It felt right. And obviously, you know, was excited. And so, you know, took the job, and I, I had some, not concerns or reservations, but I had to put a staff together, right? This is something that kind of came out of the blue, and I'm sitting there like, okay, you know, what am I going to be able to do? Who am I going to be able to get? And like I said before, I already had, you know, Cam in the back of my mind. And, you know, I told him, I actually told him today, because we, you know, it's funny, I had his performance review, and uh, he still
Don't
has
get in trouble with HR.
he still has a job, but we were sitting down talking, and you know, he afterwards he was asking, you know, about the process in South Dakota State and why and all this kind of stuff. And I said, I'll be honest with you, Cam. I mean, I had conversations with, you know, people, even him, but people surrounding him, that he was going to be the guy I was bringing with. And he had to take some time and kind of work through some things because he had prior commitments. But I knew deep down in my heart that he was coming. He was coming with me, and that gave me some peace, right? It gave me some peace because I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, from a personnel standpoint. I really didn't know Cody. You know, I met him on my my interview process, but I didn't know, you know, enough about him to tell him, hey, listen, you know, we're gonna move forward with you or not. And he appreciated that. I told him I would do my research, but it gave me a sense of peace knowing that Cam was coming with me. And so I felt good. Hit the ground running. And when I got out here, Cam didn't come for about another month or so, because he had obligations. He had to kind of tie up some loose ends. And I got to get to know Cody. And I actually lived with Cody for about a month, and lived with him and his now wife, Haley, and got to know them really well. And the more time I spent with them, it was like, man, this dude is an absolute workhorse, and he is passionate about his career. He's passionate about the kids. And that's something that, I don't want to say you don't see in our world. I believe, I've said this before, and I believe there are only two types of coaches in this world. If somebody can come up with another, you know, let me know. But there are two types, and you got the coaches that will win at the expense of their athletes, and you got coaches that will win with their athletes. And Cody he's going to win with them. And our policy, you check your damn ego at the door and you come to work, and it's all about these kids and developing them and making them the best they possibly can be. So does it other areas kind of your life take a little bit of a toll because you're not spending all the time in the world? It does, but you got to have a supportive, system, a supportive, spouse and partner to be able to go through this and do what we do. I mean, I literally got home, right before I jumped on this podcast, and we were at the facility from 7, 8 o'clock this morning and until now. And so it is a lifestyle, and coming out and getting to know Cody, and then kind of going through, who to bring in. First, we had Chris Dardanes, and Chris was with us for, goodness, three years. And then Chris moved on and got a teaching job down in Iowa. And then we were up for another coach, and my college roommate and teammate back in Minnesota, Jared Lawrence, who he runs one of the premier clubs in the country, Pinnacle, out of right out of the cities. I got on the phone with him, and I'm like, Jared, man, I need a middle guy, someone who can, get on the mat, someone who can, work with, everyone, but a smaller guy. Because if you look at our staff, we're all pretty big dudes. And in wrestling, it's, people kind of pigeonhole you a little bit. And it's like, well, where's the little guy? Where's the big weight coach? And it's like, listen, we get on the mat with every single one of our guys from heavyweight down to 125. And it's, you don't need to be a specific size, but in the wrestling world, everybody looks at that. And so Jared kind of told me, he's like, Damion, Brady's going to be coming back, to Minnesota. And, he wants to, start a club and start coaching. And I was like, well, hell, man, we'll give him a call. And so I called up Brady, had a great conversation, got him to Brookings, and he loved it. Loved the size of the town. He's from Casson Manorville, a small town in Minnesota, just west of Rochester, and it just fit for him. And it was a good situation, and he's been with us now, 3 years, and I feel like, I got the best staff in the country. I mean, I go to bed at night not having to worry about things, and I assume it's the same, it's reciprocated on the other end, because we all take care of what we need to take care of, and what comes first is this program and these kids, and it's not going to change. And I think that's why we're having some of the success that we're having, is because of our culture. And it stems from, the people that these kids surround themselves by. And my staff is, they're just salt of the earth guys, and they work their tails off, and they don't have egos. So I think that's important.
Yeah. And all my interactions with Cody and Bergie and Cam have been just fantastic, especially since I've got a chance to interview them all now. Great guys. Speaking about success a little bit, let's talk a little bit about the season, if we can. Have some success, more success than we have in the past. Got up to number 10 in the coaching rankings, or maybe talk about that a little bit, and how the season's gone so far, and where you see us trajectory wise.
Well, every year that we've been here, we've hit milestones, right? In a lot of different areas, from the academic side, from the wrestling side, from, if you want to talk about fundraising, you want to talk about just so many different facets within our program, we have hit. And it's been kind of an upward trajectory with a lot of it. But you mentioned, a top 10 ranking, and, that's a first. That's a first in program history, to be able to be ranked in the top 10. And that happened, this year. And we're sitting at 11th right now. And I'm not really sure. It's a coach's ranking, and other coaches kind of pick it or whatever. But I think we should be ranked 10th, to be honest with you, ahead of Michigan, but we're not. We lost to Minnesota, who's ranked behind us. Minnesota's best win is us, and our best win is Michigan. So it's like, I don't know, whatever. You're splitting hairs a little bit. And then, another, another, first for our program was, for the first time in history, we had 10 guys ranked, and that is another milestone that, goodness, I mean, that's huge. It's huge for your program. And then, speaking of, Michigan, and, we wrestled Missouri this weekend, but it was 3 years ago, I believe, we wrestled Missouri, and it was our first ever top 10 win against a top 10 program. And that was 3 years ago. And then this year we got our highest top 10 win when Michigan was ranked 6th. So, there's been a lot of good things. It has not been easy. I mean, we've talked about this, Chad, that first year that we were here. I mean, it was part of my French, but it was dog doo-doo, man. I mean, like, literally, I mean, we didn't have, the cupboards were bare.
Yep.
And we were trying to piecemeal it together to get guys out, because I wasn't going to do wrong by the kids, and the kids that we brought in burn their red shirt year just to, I don't know, fill a team or, whatever. The right thing to do was, hey man, Damion, you're going to take it on the chin, and you're going to do what's right by these kids and redshirt them and develop them and get them ready for the following year. And so, I mean, we won 3 duels, and holy heck, I don't even know how we won 3 duels, but we did. And I think the biggest thing was, we had a plan, right? We had a plan, and we did not deviate from that plan. And I remember going, every Wednesday during the season, we do our luncheon, and, so down at Cubby's at noon, and, they came off one of the most successful years they've had at the Division I era the year before. And, everybody was kind of under this impression like, hey, we're just going to keep it rolling. Well, dude, when change happened, people rolled out, and things changed for us. And so, when I came in, I think they thought I was just going to sprinkle pixie dust around, and poof, we were just going to be right where we left off. Well, that was not the case, because of some things. And I remember going to these luncheons, and we had a fraction of the people we have now, and sitting there, and they're like scratching their head, because they're like, goodness, I mean, we took 12th in the country, we had a national champ, and all this jazz. And I'm sitting there, and they're probably like, what are you doing? And I had to reassure them, and it's like, listen, I'm not going to deviate from the course. Like, what somebody does, what a panicked person does when things aren't going right, they change everything up. And no, we have a plan, and we're going to stick to this plan, and we're going to ride this plan. Because I said this, to a lot of different people, and it's like, listen, nobody can sit here and tell me that the system that we had in place at Cornell did not work. It took time. And now they have been a perennial program for, heck, I've been gone 6 years, and out of the 12 and a half that I was there, 11 and a half of those, they were in the top 5, the top 10, and we took second and third and all that. So it's like, nobody can sit here and question, the system. And so coming here, I wasn't going to deviate from that. We were going to do it our way, and we did, and we stuck to it, and we grinded it out, and we're seeing the fruits of our labor. And it's been a process. It has not been easy, but I kept reassuring people. It's like, listen, man, just stay the course, stick with us, and good things will happen. And hey, anything worthwhile takes time. It's not like hitting the lottery. I mean, like, you have to invest into this, and it does. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and commitment. So, yeah, we're having success. But how, sports are. I mean, that all can be gone. And but you hope that you have built a good enough foundation, right? A good enough foundation to weather storms and weather, some unforeseen events that could take place. I mean, heck, that's college athletics today. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, you know, the rules keep changing every single day, every minute, I feel like, and nobody has a handle on it. You know, so it's tough. It's tough to kind of navigate, but we're doing what we can, and we're doing it our way. We're doing it, I believe, the right way. And we got a group of young men that hey, they'll stand right up and say the exact same thing. So yeah, we're having success, and you know, it's winning's fun. You know, it is, and I think there's still a lot more to go, a lot more to come.
Jordan's comment here said nail on the head. Everyone that's listened to the words knew this was part of the plan. Jordan, aren't you supposed to be working right now? Don't you have Stagger to go check? To kind of build off some of that, talked about the current state of college athletics, and we have you on here, so I kind of want your opinion on this, Coach. And Chad knows my opinion on this hot button topic, but
Yeah.
Duels in college wrestling been a bit of a hot button topic the last 2 years.
Well,
do you find value in them? And if yes, I'm assuming yes. Maybe that's wrong for me to assume. But if I'm assuming yes, how do we incentivize them for some of these other schools that seem to want to?
How do we fix it?
Yeah,
right. How do we fix it? It's broken now. Right? It's broken.
Right or wrong?
Okay. I mean, this is a long.
This is a 2-hour conversation.
Sum it up just a bit.
Yeah, you can devote a podcast just to this alone. But I am a firm believer in duels. And I think the number one thing why is you talk about fan base, you talk about building momentum, you talk about just school spirit, right? We wrestled Michigan, and I can tell you right now, I mean, there was close to 3,000 people down at the Pentagon, and I mean, it was a packed house. And I would be willing to bet that 90% of those people sitting in that arena had no idea who was actually wrestling. They knew Michigan was wrestling.
Right.
Okay. They knew, hey, the Jacks, they're wrestling Michigan on, you know, whatever day. We're going to go and support the Jacks. Probably some of those people didn't even know who the hell our guys were, but they knew South Dakota State was wrestling Michigan, and they were going to go and support us. So you talk about building your fan base, you talk about viewership, and that is it. I mean, it is so important. Now you have the true fans that they do go and they know who's wrestling. They know the matchups, and they're like, I can't wait to see this match versus this guy. And that is a little bit more in depth into the weeds. But I am a firm believer on duels. I think it's the best way to build your brand because it's a team. And honestly, you are in a dual meet, you are as strong as your weakest link, man. And everybody plays a part, right? Even in a loss, it plays a part. Like you're outmatched. Hey, listen, don't give up 6. You know, you can only get, you know, give up the decision. I mean, you played a part in winning that duel. And so I think that's super important. How do you make it more important to other teams? I mean, and this is the tricky part, right? Because you can say whatever, you can put rules, you can put a financial commitment onto it, like you can do whatever you want. But the big thing today, and it's warranted, right? You talk about the overall health and well-being of student athletes. So what is to say that, hey, my guy woke up today with 103 fever. He can't wrestle. And the coach is lying. I don't know. Yeah. But you're going to throw a kid out there and God forbid he does get hurt. You know what I mean? So then you're dealing with a whole nother set of things, and you know, and it could get worse. It could get bad. So how do you incentivize duels? Well, I think So I don't know if if it's public yet, but like for example, I just agreed. The NWCA is our wrestling governing body outside the NCAA, and they want to do a national duels. They had a national duels back in the day. When I was at Cornell and when I wrestled, we wrestled in national duels. It was ran by the NWCA. They don't do it anymore for Division One, but they want to establish a Division One national duels again, and it's only gonna be for mid majors. So you take the Power Five out, and then all the mid majors they want to do a national duels. And I don't know if the response of it, but I can tell you right now, I guarantee you it's got to be 95% and above are going to support it, because it gives us a platform to go and do some things that generally wouldn't happen. And so I'm all for it. I think duels are the greatest thing in the world. Now, we did have it. I don't know however many years ago we had it, and all of a sudden you get some coaches, at some of the bigger schools, like, yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to expose my guys, or it's at the wrong time of the year, or they always have some darn excuse. And it's like, listen, and I think you heard Cam talk about it on the last podcast, but sports are entertainment. People get entertained by sports. And when you have coaches, when you have programs that don't look at it that way, I mean, God, you want to kill our sport? Come on, man. Like it's not the most television friendly sport out there. I mean, if you don't know anything about wrestling, you're looking at two dudes rolling around in some leotards, right? I mean, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. And so you want to hurt our sport, keep taking it away, keep keeping guys out and not wrestling and doing all that, and people get pissed off. So make it count, make it mean something. So what we're going to do for the NWCA, the mid majors, I think it's awesome, but it would be great if you had some sort of component like a scoring system that maybe duels. You have some sort of dual format to the national tournament. You still have your individual tournament, but the dual format kind of adds points to your overall points. And so, because you could have a team that's got, I mean, okay, look, we beat Michigan, right? When we come to the NCAA tournament, I think they got like 6 or 7 All-Americans. We have 2, right, in our lineup. Now, I think we're going to get more, but we only have 2. They have, I think, 6 or 7, and one of them is a national champ. Technically, they should score more points enough at the national tournament, where in a duel, their national champ, he can only score 6 points. Where at the national tournament, if he bonused everybody, he's scoring 30 points.
Yep.
And so is that really a team? Like, you know what I mean? So maybe make a component of it where you have this kind of dual format. You take the X amount of top teams, and maybe it's before or after. I think it would be better after, because what you do is once you have your national tournament, let's say you take however the standings finish at the end of the year, you take the top, I don't know, 24, 32, whatever of the individual standings. And then you take them and then you put them into a dual format. And then to be considered the national champion overall, you get points for advancement. You get points for, how you do in this dual meet format. And then those points get added to your overall total. And hey, it might be competitive because people love Cinderella stories, right? And you see that more often in team sports than you do in individual sports. When you see a basketball team make an unbelievable run, you're like, oh my God, never heard of this team before. And they're in the Sweet 16, the elite whatever, 8 or I don't even know. But they make these runs and people are like, wow. And so you do something like that and you can make it matter. Or you put a financial commitment onto it. And it's like, listen, you know, if your guys are healthy, they wrestle, they don't duck, they don't sit. And if you don't, you know what? You get fined. I don't know. I mean, and some of these programs are like, yeah, hit me with a fine. Who cares? But hey, you ain't getting that from us. I mean, like I'll tell you that right now. I mean, we'll wrestle. We don't duck anybody. I mean, like we will have a guy out there. We will be wrestling, and it is what it is. And so I don't know, man. I think there are probably better ideas than I have.
That's super unique. It's something I hadn't even thought of, and I absolutely love it. Because only thing I could come up with prior is like, what if that's and it works better for conference tournament than NCAA's, obviously. What if that's your third criteria? So conference record, head to head, team dual score in the seeding meeting. But I love that having
how many points you score for your team in a duel. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
is that what you meant?
Yeah, I mean, you could use that. I mean, like honestly, I think there are a lot of things that you could do. Wrestling, and again, Chad, you know this. I'm not a sports guy. I'm a wrestling guy. So I don't.
No. I was just gonna say, like, you're totally forgiven for not knowing the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I don't follow.
You're not a basketball guy,
but when it comes to wrestling, I feel like a lot of wrestling people are traditionalists and they like riding time. They get frustrated with this out of bounds stall call. Well, just make it freestyle. Like they like what we have and they don't want to deviate from that. And the dual component of it. I mean, man, that is traditional. And I feel like a lot of our, in my mind, it's traditional, but like a lot of our other coaches that are out there, their main focus is in other places. They wanna see what they do at the national tournament. They don't care about the duels. They're gonna rest the guy or avoid competition because of seeding or whatever it may be. I mean, look at the other teams. Listen, if our quarterback is out of the game for whatever reason, we're not going to play. No, you're going to throw another guy in there, and you know what? Nobody gives a damn if you lose and you didn't have them. Okay, you lost.
Yep.
You lost. So, the best programs in the country, in other sports and basketball and football and, some of these other high profile sports, hey, make a case. So what? So, our starting point guard, we would have won if he was able to play. Well, you didn't. You lost. Okay. At the end of the day, X team beat X team, and that's on you. And for whatever reason, I get one guy's out, two guys are out, but you got some of these places that they avoid competition, they bump guys around, so based on seeding and ranking, and so they don't hit. It kind of sucks, to be honest with you. So you ain't gonna get that.
And that's not just a D1 NCAA wrestling issue. It's happening in high schools and stuff.
It's trickled down to high school. It's just it's horrible across the sport.
It's crazy, man.
It's not great for the sport. We can all agree on that.
I mean, I've gone to some of these high school duels, and it's like they will literally stay in their weight class, and they'll take the forfeit. The other guy gets a forfeit. Then they'll take the forfeit underneath, and it's like, nobody came here to just see this. Like, let's get some wrestling. And so freaking what? We're talking about high school, throw them out there and let them freaking wrestle. But that's just, what has the world become? It's like,
I mean, it's not often you see a kid like we had that wrestled up in the state tournament to wrestle Nash Hutmacher and,
Yeah.
arguably won,
Right.
that's, I don't know where I land on that argument, but
I'm an
we're lucky to have had him.
SDHSAA registered official, Chad. Please do not get me in trouble.
He is, that's true. So we touched on it just a bit. The rules have changed. We talked about being
There's
traditional.
my dog. Ugh.
Oh, that's all right. We love dogs.
And there's my kid.
There's the kid. Which kid was that?
That's Miles.
Miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of fun at the
big,
duels.
My
We
big-
love having them
big
there. Bring a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your thoughts on the new rules this year and how maybe the 3-point takedown specifically, I think, has been the biggest change, and what your view on it is. I think it's a positive, but yeah, I also think maybe we should get more points for an escape, but maybe not. I don't know. I could be led either way. What's your thoughts on the whole rule changes that have happened this past year and how they've affected things?
So I think at first, I'm going to be honest, I was a little unsure of the 3-point takedown. Yeah, I think everybody was. But I'm going to be honest, I don't know if it's changed a whole lot. All right. And hear me out. The one thing I think it's helped is you're kind of never out of a match, right? Because takedowns can come quick and you can get points. So that's that. But let's be honest. If a guy give 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 10-point takedowns, the guys that are going to blow guys out are going to blow guys out. That's just that doesn't change anything. They're just doing it. They're just doing it faster now. Okay. See my kid in the background.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
He's trying to avoid it. I don't care. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, I got dogs running around and he's trying to get them. But the people that are going to blow guys out are going to blow guys out. It's just happening faster. What I would like to see is a statistic and see actual numbers in highly contested bouts, right? What I believe is going to happen, and you've seen some of it already, in the matches that you have like a 1 and 2 ranking or whatever, a very close ranking. You're going to see guys, and I believe this, you see guys now not take as much risk because, dude, if I give up 3 points, I might be out of the match. Giving up 2, getting an escape. Now I'm only down by 1, and let's just say I'm not that great on my feet. So now it's like, I don't know if I should kind of open up until I need to, and that's later in the match. And so I've seen a couple matches where it's been 2-1. There's no takedown there. I've seen matches where it's been 1-0 on highly contested matches. And that is defeating the purpose, right? They wanted to put 3-point takedown to make it more exciting for people to create more action and so on and so on. I don't know at the very top echelon if that is happening. At the low, at below that, yeah, dudes are blowing guys out. And people are like, this is the greatest thing in the world. It's like, they would have blew them out anyway. We're just getting them on the mat and off the mat faster. That's just my opinion. So I like the 3-point takedown. I do, because like I mentioned before, you're never out of a match. You can kind of claw your way back in, where it was harder. You get a takedown, you cut him, you only got a 1 point. You get a takedown, you cut him, now you're at 2 points, where it doubles it all. And so you can get yourself back into a match, which I like. And I love I love wrestling on my feet. So these rules would have been perfect for me. I didn't turn guys on top. I rode guys, but I never turned anybody. And so, so I like it. I do. I would like to see the numbers at the end of the year and really, really give a deep dive and see how effective it was. I think the biggest one is And people have been talking about this since the dawn of time, and it's like, dude, the stalling, man, the stalling is just out of control. We don't know who's supposed to be doing what, and you're doing what they say, and then they hit you for stalling. The out of bounds stall is just the most ridiculous thing in the world, because they hit it one way, and then the exact same thing would happen again, and they don't hit it. And it's because now the ref's like, well, I don't want to insert myself into the match, so I don't want to, I don't want to dictate what what's going to happen. Like, listen, dude, just call it like it is. If they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. And so what's happened is the out of bounds stall has completely overtaken the traditional stalling in the middle of the mat. I mean, you guys saw Oklahoma. I mean, we chased those dudes around the mat, and nobody got hit for stalling. And I'm like, what do you want us to do? We are literally chasing these guys, and they're not going to take a bad shot because the guy's backing away. And so, like, literally, they're just trying to get a hold of guys, and there's nothing's happening. And I've told the head guy, and I was like, listen, just like the out of bounds, they'll always hit that first one. They rarely hit the second one. And so you do that to encourage the guy to stay in, right? Well, hell, do it for traditional stalling. A guy's running around, not wrestling, avoiding, hit them for stalling and be like, dude, you better start wrestling. And, hopefully something goes off in my mind, and I'm like, oh, hell, I better stop doing what I'm doing, or I'm going to get a point, given to the other guy. And so I just think our how we think, or our mindset about it, needs to shift a little bit. So we create or the officials do their job in creating action, right? Hey, it's my responsibility to get my guys prepared to wrestle. I think it's the officials' responsibility to keep these guys wrestling and not doing nothing, So I don't know. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah, and 100%. I might have accidentally said I think there should be 2 points for an escape. I meant a reversal, actually.
Yeah,
reversal I think should be more valuable than an escape. But anyway,
we mean what you know, Chad. Shift gears a little bit here. We talked about the importance of duels. We have a really big one Sunday. Talk about the importance of getting maybe some fans in the building. I saw Cubbies, or the university's doing a promotion with Cubbies where students, off chance anyone's listening, $500 Cubbies drawing. That's a lot of food and beer. And my own personal request, or everyone call it, Coach. Could we maybe please start at 285?
We want an Elam to start and an Elam to end. Is that what you're saying?
Well, slow and Elam part 3 to end the duel would be a blast.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah. No doubt.
It goes back to, I'm a traditionalist, man, and I want to start at 25 every single time.
You like having Tanner start, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's just me, and I that's where I'll always go. I thought it was interesting when OU wanted to start at 285 because I'll just be honest, they were unsure if they were going to wrestle Buchanan. Yep. And that's a situation like we just talked about. They were unsure if they were going to wrestle Buchanan, and I still think they shouldn't have wrestled him because he ain't going to major Sloan. And even if he majors Sloan, we still win the duel on points. So he needs to tech him or pin him. And if you're looking at it that way, protect his seed. He would have got the #1 seed at the Big 12 tournament. Don't wrestle him. So I like starting at 25. TJ, he's our spark plug. He's gonna go out there and he's gonna give you everything he's got, and he kind of sets the ball rolling for us. So I mean, and hell, he's got a banger, at 25 this week.
That's gonna be a fun one
You
too.
know?
Noah Certain's no joke.
Yeah,
He's like number 9, 8, depending on what you're looking at.
I mean, he is tough, and TJ has lost to him the last couple times.
He's been wrestling really well though.
But he's beat him before too.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's been wrestling well, and I think that this is a match that he's looking forward to. This duel is going to be huge for us. We planned it this way to, hit these solid teams. We always finish with NDSU, but we hit these solid teams to kind of give us what we need, in preparation, for that postseason. And I mean, they're having some Cubbies giveaways. They're handing out, the national qualifier magnets, and I think it's important. This duel is going to be a big duel, and what helps us, I mean, we need every advantage, especially being at home. Frost is a very hard place to compete in. We have seen that with our basketball teams, and we need to create the same environment for our guys on the mat. We go down to Sioux Falls and there's 3,000 people. I mean, that was amazing, and the guys the guys fed off of it. The fans were into it, and we need to have the same type of environment in Frost. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it's frustrating at times because we've had it before. We've had it before, and we got an 11th ranked team in the country. We're not talking about the conference. We're talking about the country. And there's only one mid-major that is ranked higher than us, and that's Cornell. And we're up there with the Blue Bloods, and get your butt in the stands and cheer these guys on, because it is a street fight with rules, man. Who doesn't like watching, two guys go out there and duke it out? Like, I mean, get in there, make the environment crazy, make it hard to wrestle in, and support these guys, because they don't go out there just to do it for themselves. I mean, they came here to South Dakota State because of the support and that we have in our fan base, and we need to have a packed house coming in.
And just to further bolster the quality of wrestling, there's a ranked guy in every match, and it's going to be 7 ranked versus ranked matchups. I mean, what more can you do for $20 on a Sunday afternoon in Eastern South Dakota?
You got it. You said it.
And the atmosphere is as electric as any WNIT anybody's ever been to. When it's rocking for wrestling, you know how into it wrestling fans are. It's a different type of into it. It's a way more raucous environment. Yeah. I'm excited. Honestly, I'm very excited. We got guys that I think can really, really pull off some upsets. I don't know what I'm looking, where I'm looking for upsets. Maybe I'd like to see Derek get one. Alec, I think, is gonna win. Kale's probably got a tight match there. That's a swing match on paper anyway.
I think on paper you got.
Well, it's about a 15-16 final score. So
74, 84, and 97. And it's funny because on paper, those are the matches we should win.
Right.
Well, you got at 97, that's a rematch of the semifinals of the national tournament and the Big 12 finals.
So finals.
Finals.
At 84, their guys ranked maybe just below us, and they wrestled last year, and Bennett lost by a point. Now, Bennett wrestled him over the summer freestyle and beat him. And then at 74, last year, Mako beat Kale in the round of 12 to be an All-American. So it's like, dude, we're projected to win those 3, and they've all split matches because Kale beat him earlier in the year, in the Southern Scuffle Finals. So, you know, it's going to be a dogfight. And then you got, you know, those other matches, you know, at 25, man, that's going to be a dogfight. I think it's a match that TJ can grind out and pick up a win at 33. Cardinal, the same thing, you know, 41. I mean, those guys are ranked right next to one another. That's another dogfight. 49. I mean, like literally every single, the only one that, if you want to say is a mismatch, but I never count my guy out, is 65.
165.
That dude's a what, two-time national champ, ranked number 1 in the country, world
Number
champ.
3 pound for pound.
Yeah.
But then we get into the argument, do they even trot him out?
Right? I mean, I don't know.
They may not. They may not.
They might.
I hope so.
I think they do, just because.
Well, they ducked him in the past, remember?
When we wrestled the duel down there, they did not send him out. Yeah, they did not send him out in the duel down there. They gave him the weekend off. And so I don't think Brian does it this time. I think he's coming guns a-blazing, and he wants to get a win. But yeah, man, I mean, every single match is gonna be a barn burner. I believe that. And our guys wrestle the best when there's action, right? When there is confrontation, there's a fight, and it's a heated battle. That's where our guys are the best. And so I'm looking forward to having the Tigers in here on Sunday, and hopefully it turns out to be a battle and should be good.
Well, we definitely got to respect your time. We know how busy you are, and you got a family and everything. We're getting close to an hour here. I just wanted to shout out that, you know, you're wearing your gear right here.
Yeah, baby.
The JWC raffle and silent auction.
Right.
That's going on February 24th. Maybe just I can read off the things that it is, but maybe you do a better job selling people on why that's such a great deal, because it really is.
No, it's you know, everybody, you know, where do I start?
Tickets are still available. $250 for 2 people.
Available, right? We have tickets available. They're $250 a ticket, and that gets you and a guest into the 9 bar, where we have our raffle silent auction. And with that, you and a guest get all you can eat food and drink. They're silent auction items. And then at the end of the, I mean, they're giving away things throughout the entire night. I mean, everybody gets something. And then the winner has the opportunity, or doesn't have the opportunity. He will get $10,000. So, you know, you're not just, you can get something out of this, but I think the biggest thing is what this goes towards, right? You know, you talk about the landscape of college athletics. You talk about, you know, all the things that these kids go through and the things that they do. And all this goes to support our kids. The Jackrabbit Wrestling Club is a regional training center, and we provide opportunity for these guys. I mean, you look at the last, I don't know, 2-3 years. I mean, in my 6 years here, we've put 1, 2, 3, 4 guys on world teams. Out of those 4, we have brought home 3 world medals. That goes to fund that. You know, it pays for their training, it pays for their travel. I mean, going down, I mean, Bennett last year, I mean, he went down to Chile, won a Pan Am gold. He went over to Amon Jordan, and, you know, we went over there and he took a bronze medal. And so, like, that stuff just doesn't happen. You know, we raise money for all these things, and it goes directly to impact our guys. And so, I encourage, you know, everyone who's listening and who's going to be checking this podcast out, you know, it's vital. It's vital for our program, because,
and it's a good time.
Oh, it's a great time.
One-on-one time with coaches and athletes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time, and if we didn't have these things, we would not. And I'm telling you, man, we would not be where we are today. It's because of the opportunities we provide them over the summer, the training, the competition that does not get funded by the university, because it's a separate university. We wrestle collegiate. and in the JWC and the in the international styles, it's freestyle and Greco. It's what you see in the World Olympics. So it's completely separate, and we need to have the resources to be able to take care of our guys, to be able to send them all over the world. And honestly, you look at it from a a wrestling competition perspective is great, right? But let's look at it from an educational standpoint, right? I mean, I have been fortunate. I have been very fortunate. I have made teams, and I've been able to travel this world because of the sport that I do. And you talk about eye-opening experiences. You talk about the educational piece. I mean, some of the best wrestling in the world, outside of the United States, is in some not great places. You talk about some third world countries. You talk about Russia, and not saying Russia's third world, but you talk about Russia and some of these other spots, and you get to go and experience a different culture, and you get to learn, and the hospitality and the camaraderie is unbelievable. I mean, not to get off on a tangent here, but I remember, I think it was maybe 2016 or 2012 when Jordan Burroughs won an Olympic gold medal, and the guy he beat in the finals was from Iran. And like they're buddying it up, and like the rest of our country's like, oh my God, like, that guy's from Iran. But we don't see any of that in sport. It's different. And so for our guys to have that experience and be able to travel the world and really utilize what they do to gain experience and knowledge, I mean, it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have the resources that we have in the JWC to be able to support that. So if you haven't bought your tickets, buy your darn tickets. It goes from 4 to, I believe, 8 o'clock. And it's a darn good time. And there's a lot of people, a lot of good people to talk to. And then the next day, the Bison come on down and to Frost. And the goal is to put it on the Bison.
Well, I think we're gonna.
Always is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a repeat of a couple years ago.
Right. That'll be nice. That'll be nice. I like those duels where you go in and you just kind of mop the mats, with a team. I know the fans like the heatedness. Like, dude, I ain't got any more hair. Look at all the gray in my beard. Like, give me a little break.
They make some shampoo for that.
Yeah.
We sorry. We do want to be mindful of your time here, Coach, and I got kids myself to help my wife wrangle, but we got 4 big events left in the year. We got obviously Missouri Duel, Border Bell, Big 12s, NCAAs.
Yep.
What is maybe one thing? It can still be wrestling related, but maybe not on the mat per se, because I don't want you necessarily have to single out one of the guys sickly or anything. But of those 4 events, what's one thing you're really looking forward to the most in these last 4 events of the year?
Obviously there's some key matchups, right, in these next couple events. I mean, so those are going to be, fun. You talk about, Tanner Sloan, right? I mean, he's got Rocky Elam. I mean, that's going to be huge. But I think overall, the one thing that I would love is for our seniors, to go out on a positive note, right? Finish out these next couple home duels in a great fashion. Let them know that they are appreciated by our fans and come out and support them, because I think that is an everlasting memory that they will have. And then have a good Big 12 tournament. Have a good Big 12 tournament and do everything you can to, give yourself the best chances of getting to the nationals. And, let's roll. Let's roll, because, hey, you made it to the national tournament. Now, hey, let it fly. I mean, that's what you've trained to do. And so, I really don't even think there's one thing that I can, kind of pick. There's a lot, there's a lot of things that, these next 4 competitions, are going to show. and show where we're at, show the development of our guys, and put people on notice. I think last year sending 8 guys to the national tournament was monumental. That's never happened before. That was huge for our program, and I said it last year, at the national tournament. We were there, and I mean, everywhere you looked, it was like jackrabbits, jackrabbits, jackrabbits. And I remember, being at the tournament, and it was like, all right, so and so from South Dakota State's up on mat 1, so and so from South Dakota State's up on mat 8, so and so from South Dakota State's up on this mat, and it was just like you couldn't get away from it. And then when we walked outside the venue, it was just like people were just South Dakota State was the talk of the town, and I believe we have another team that can do the same, and show the rest of the country where we are, what we're about, and that we're here to stay. I mean, this isn't just a kind of flash in the pan, right? I mean, this is a program that has a great foundation, and then we're continuing to build on top of it. So these next 4 events are going to be awesome. Our guys are going to go out there and perform, and it should be fun. It should be a lot of fun. And with Kansas City being so close, it's one of the closer national tournaments that we've had. I think Des Moines and Omaha have been closer, but
the one that didn't happen.
Yeah, and the one that didn't happen. But Kansas City being so close, we have a strong contingent of fans going, and I know not all of them are happy because we got we got allotted X amount of tickets, and I mean we got a lot, but I mean I think we got allotted 200 some odd tickets because of where we placed, and we had over 470 requests. And so I wish I could have got more, but I couldn't. And, but even then, man, come down, you'll be able to scalp tickets and come and support. And it's just going to be an awesome time.
Well, with that, thanks as always. You're always so generous with your time and coming on here and talking with us, Coach. We surely appreciate that. But we're going to call it a night. How about we get jacked on 3? You ready?
You got it.
3, 2, 1. Get jacked.
Yeah, baby.